The distress call, the twin sons of Epsilon Eridani, cast long shadows across the prefabricated buildings of Horizon Point. Commander Elena Reyes stood at the observation deck, watching colonists move between agricultural domes and research facilities. 15 years of hard work had transformed this once barren world into humanity's most distant outpost, a testament to perseverance and engineering prowess. "Commander, you need to see this immediately." Lieutenant Kavita Singh's voice broke through Elena's moment of contemplation. The communications specialist rarely showed concern, but today her dark eyes reflected unmistakable fear. Elena followed Kavita to the communications hub, a circular room filled with monitoring equipment and displays. Several staff members stood, frozen around the main console, their faces illuminated by the harsh blue light of the central holographic projector. "We received this transmission 4 minutes ago," Kavita explained, her fingers dancing across the control panel. "It's from Outpost Vega." The holographic display flickered to life, showing a man in a torn military uniform. Blood streaked his face, and behind him emergency lights flashed chaotically. The image wavered, distorted by interference. "This is Director Colin Matsuda of Outpost Vega," the man began, his voice breaking through bursts of static. "We are under attack by unknown vessels. They appeared without warning at the edge of our system." The image deteriorated further, his words becoming fragmented. "Weapons unlike anything we've encountered breached our defenses in minutes. They're methodically destroying everything." The transmission stabilized momentarily. Director Matsuda leaned closer to the camera, his eyes wide with desperation. "They communicated only once. They said humanity is an infestation that must be controlled. This isn't random. They know exactly who we are." Another explosion rocked his position. "They're targeting all human settlements. You must warn Earth." The feed dissolved into static before cutting entirely. Silence enveloped the communications hub. Elena felt cold sweat form on her brow as she processed the implications. "Outpost Vega was 8 light years from us," she said finally. "Have we detected any unusual activity in our system?" "Nothing yet," Kavita responded, already running additional scans. "But our long-range sensors are limited. If these vessels use the same approach..." Elena straightened her shoulders. "Military training, taking over. Sound general alert. Activate planetary defense systems and begin civilian shelter protocols." She turned to her security chief. "I want all defense platforms online and a full sensor sweep of the system." "Commander," Kavita hesitated. "Should we send a warning to Earth?" Elena stared at the blank display where Matsuda's desperate face had been moments before. Earth was 22 light years away. Any message would take 22 years to reach them, and another 22 for help to arrive, if help came at all. "Not through conventional channels," Elena decided. "Prepare the quantum entanglement communicator." The room fell silent again. The QEC was Horizon Point's most closely guarded secret, an experimental device that allowed instantaneous communication across any distance. It was power-intensive and strictly reserved for civilization-threatening emergencies. This would be the first time it had ever been used. "Are you certain?" asked Kavita. "The Security Council will question your judgment. If what we just saw is happening across human space, this is exactly what the QEC was designed for." Elena's voice left no room for debate. "Prepare the transmission." In her private office, Elena recorded her message to Earth's Defense Council. She included Matsuda's transmission and added, "Based on this clear threat to human colonies, I, Commander Elena Reyes of Horizon Point, formally request activation protocol Delta 7. Delta 7. The code was almost mythological among military personnel. It authorized the reactivation of Earth's most devastating weapon system, the Death Fleet, 7 massive warships built during humanity's darkest hours and then sealed. away in hopes they would never be needed again. After sending the transmission through the QEC, Elena returned to the observation deck. The colony below continued its daily routines, unaware that everything might soon change. She wondered how many of these people would survive if the unknown enemy arrived before help could reach them. Hours passed, with no new developments. Elena was reviewing evacuation protocols when Kavita burst into her office. "Commander," Earth responded. Elena followed her back to the communications hub. On the main display, the stern face of Admiral Richard Hayes appeared. "Commander Reyes, your message has been received and Delta 7 protocol has been authorized. Fleet Admiral Marcus Chen has been recalled from retirement to lead the mission. The Death Fleet is being awakened." The Admiral's expression softened slightly. "Help is coming, Commander. Until then, you must hold your position. Earth stands with Horizon Point." The transmission ended, leaving Elena with a mixture of relief and dread. Help was coming, but would it arrive in time? "What's our status?" she asked. "All defense systems active, civilian shelters prepared," reported her security chief. "But if these aliens have the firepower that destroyed Outpost Vega—" "We don't need to win," Elena interrupted. "We just need to survive until the Death Fleet arrives." She squared her shoulders. "Begin evacuation of non-essential personnel to the underground facilities. Move our atmospheric ships to the concealed hangars and continue monitoring all approach vectors." 3 days passed without incident. Elena had begun to hope that perhaps Outpost Vega had been an isolated attack. That hope died when the sensor arrays detected multiple objects decelerating at the edge of their system. 15 vessels, confirmed the sensor operator. "Configuration unknown. They're on direct approach to Horizon Point." Elena watched the tactical display as the alien ships advanced. They moved with precise coordination, spreading out to encircle the planet. Their hulls appeared to shift and ripple, absorbing rather than reflecting light. "Open a communication channel," Elena ordered. "Channel open," Kavita confirmed. "This is Commander Elena Reyes of the human colony Horizon Point. We are a peaceful settlement. Please state your intentions." No response came except for a sudden power surge from the lead vessel. A beam of concentrated energy shot toward the planet's surface, striking one of the automated defense platforms. The platform exploded in a blinding flash. "Return fire," Elena commanded. "All defense systems, engage hostile targets." Horizon Point's defense grid activated, launching interceptors and firing ground-based energy weapons. The battle had begun, and Elena knew they were outmatched. Their only hope was to delay the inevitable until Earth's Death Fleet arrived. "How long until our planetary shields fail?" she asked her chief engineer. "At this rate of bombardment?" He checked his calculations. 6 hours, maybe less." "Then we hold for 6 hours," Elena said. "Every minute we resist gives our people a better chance." As the alien vessels methodically dismantled their defenses, Elena led the fight from the command center. She coordinated countermeasures, ordered tactical retreats, and exploited every advantage their knowledge of the terrain provided. But with each passing hour, their situation grew more desperate. 5 hours into the battle, the planetary shields flickered and failed. The alien vessels began systematic strikes against the colony's infrastructure. Buildings collapsed, power, grids failed, and fires erupted across Horizon Point's once pristine landscape. "Commander," Kavita called out over the chaos, "I'm detecting massive energy signatures entering the system." Elena rushed to the sensor display. 7 enormous vessels had appeared at the system's edge, moving with impossible speed toward Horizon Point. Their design was unmistakably human, but unlike any ships currently in service. Each vessel resembled a massive arrowhead, bristling with weapons and radiating power. "The Death Fleet," Elena whispered. Fleet Admiral Marcus Chen stood on the bridge of the Nemesis, flagship of the Death Fleet. At 73, he had thought his days of command were long behind him. 20 years of peaceful retirement had softened his body, but not his mind. When the call came, he had not hesitated. "All ships maintain formation," he ordered. "Target the alien vessels surrounding Horizon Point. Weapons free." The Death Fleet opened fire. Beams of concentrated energy sliced through space, striking the alien ships with devastating precision. 3 enemy vessels were destroyed in the initial salvo, caught unprepared for the sudden arrival of Earth's most fearsome weapons. "Sir, the remaining alien ships are regrouping," reported his tactical officer, Commander Sato. "They're adapting to our attack pattern," Chen observed. "Switch to assault configuration Theta." The Death Fleet shifted positions, creating a spherical formation around the planet. The alien vessels attempted to break through, but were met with coordinated fire from multiple directions. "Establish communication with the surface," Chen ordered. Moments later, Elena Reyes appeared on the main view screen, her face smudged with dirt and a cut visible above her right eye. "Commander Reyes, this is Fleet Admiral Chen. The Death Fleet has arrived. What's your status?" "Admiral." Elena's relief was palpable. "We've sustained heavy damage. Multiple civilian casualties. Our defensive capabilities are nearly depleted. Understood. We'll handle the aliens. Prepare your people for emergency evacuation if necessary." As Chen returned his attention to the battle, the alien vessels executed a sudden, coordinated maneuver. They withdrew from Horizon Point's orbit and regrouped at a distance. "They're preparing for something," Sato warned. Chen nodded. "All ships, maintain defensive positions around the planet. Prepare for—" Before he could finish, a massive energy surge emanated from the alien formation. The space between the alien vessels distorted, and a new ship emerged, 3 times larger than any they had encountered so far. "New contact," Sato reported, voice tense. "Energy readings off the scale." "So they were just the advance force," Chen murmured. "This is their real weapon." The massive alien vessel fired a beam of energy that cut through space itself, striking one of the Death Fleet ships. The human vessel's shields flared briefly before failing, and the ship broke apart in a cascade of explosions. "Evasive maneuvers," Chen ordered. "Focus all firepower on that command vessel." As the battle intensified, Chen realized they were facing an enemy with technology that might surpass even the Death Fleet's capabilities. But humanity had one advantage that had carried them through countless conflicts: adaptability. "Commander Sato, analyze their attack patterns. Find me a weakness." Chen's eyes never left the tactical display. "And get me a direct line to Commander Reyes. If we're going to win this fight, we'll need every advantage we can get." The battle for Horizon Point had begun in earnest, and with it, humanity's first major interstellar war. The emergency transmission that had summoned Earth's Death Fleet would go down in history as the moment everything changed, the moment humans proved they would not be easily erased from the stars. The awakening Fleet Admiral Marcus Chen paced the bridge of the Nemesis as the battle raged around Horizon Point. His mind raced through tactical possibilities, evaluating and discarding options as the massive alien command vessel continued its devastating assault. "Admiral, we've lost the Vigilance," Commander Sato reported grimly. "The Dauntless reports critical shield failures. 2 Death Fleet vessels destroyed in less than an hour, ships that had been designed to be unstoppable, now falling before this unknown enemy." "Status on the colony?" Chen demanded. "Commander Reyes reports they've moved most civilians to underground shelters, but their medical facilities are overwhelmed," Lieutenant Zhou, his communications officer, responded. "The alien bombardment has stopped for now. They seem focused on us." Chen studied the tactical display. The remaining alien vessels had formed a protective ring around their command ship, intercepting the Death Fleet's attacks with disturbing efficiency. "They're learning our patterns too quickly," he muttered. "It's almost as if they—" "Sir," interrupted Dr. Eliza Wright, the fleet's chief science officer. "I've been analyzing the enemy's communication frequencies. They appear to be using some form of quantum entanglement network." They're sharing tactical data instantaneously across all vessels. Chen's eyes narrowed. So they function as a single entity rather than individual ships. Exactly, Wright confirmed. But there's more. These aren't just ships, Admiral. I'm detecting organic components interwoven with their technology. These vessels are at least partially alive. The revelation sent a chill through the bridge. Humanity had encountered alien life before, but never anything like this. Never species that melded so completely with their machines. Can we disrupt their communication network? Chen asked. Wright hesitated. Possibly. The Death Fleet was designed with quantum countermeasure systems, but they've never been tested against an actual enemy. Well, they're about to be, Chen decided. Commander Sato, coordinate with Dr. Wright. I want a disruption protocol ready in 30 minutes. Until then, he turned to his helmsman, pull our ships back to defensive formation delta around the planet. We need to buy time. As his orders were carried out, Chen established a private communication channel with Commander Reyes on the surface. Commander, I need everything you have on these aliens. Did Director Matsuda's transmission contain any information beyond what you sent to Earth? Elena's face appeared on his personal display. Nothing substantial, but our xenobiologists have been analyzing the attack patterns. They believe these ships aren't just controlled by aliens. They might be the aliens themselves, living vessels with integrated weapon systems. That matches Dr. Wright's findings, Chen confirmed. We're working on a way to disrupt their coordination, but I need to know more about their capabilities. We managed to capture some sensor readings during the initial attack, Elena offered. I'll transmit them immediately. But Admiral, she hesitated. There's something else you should know. During the attack, we detected unusual energy readings from our archaeological dig sites. Archaeological sites? Chen frowned. Yes. Horizon. Point wasn't uninhabited when we arrived. We found ruins. Evidence of an advanced civilization that disappeared approximately 50,000 years ago. The energy signatures from the alien vessels match patterns we've discovered in those ruins. Chen absorbed this new information, his mind racing. They recognized something on your planet, he realized. That's why they attacked with such precision. Commander, I need everything you have on those ruins. While waiting for Elena's data, Chen returned to the main bridge where Dr. Wright and Commander Sato had developed their disruption strategy. We can modify our quantum communication array to generate an interference pattern, Wright explained. It won't shut down their network completely, but it should create enough lag in their system to give us an advantage. How close do we need to be? Chen asked. That's the problem, Sato interjected. We'll need to position at least 3 ships within tactical weapons range of their command vessel. A suicide run, Chen translated. He studied the tactical display, again noting the positioning of the alien fleet. Not necessarily. Lieutenant Zhou, contact the captains of the Aegis, Tempest, and Valiant. I have a specific mission for them. As Chen outlined his plan, the data from Horizon Point arrived. He assigned a team of specialists to analyze the archaeological findings while preparations continued for their counterattack. 6 hours later, the Death Fleet was ready to execute Chen's strategy. The Aegis, Tempest, and Valiant had been modified, with enhanced shield systems, temporarily sacrificing weapons power to improve their defensive capabilities. All ships report ready, Admiral, Sato confirmed. Chen nodded, his expression grave. Begin Operation Sundering. The 3 designated vessels broke formation, accelerating directly toward the alien command ship. As expected, the protective ring of smaller vessels moved to intercept them. Phase 1 complete, Sato reported. Enemy forces are responding exactly as predicted. Execute Phase 2, Chen ordered. The remaining Death Fleet vessels, including the Nemesis, activated their engines simultaneously, but instead of advancing, they released thousands of small objects, each barely larger than a human fist. Micro-drones deployed, Wright confirmed. Quantum network activating. The swarm of drones shot toward the alien formation, too small and numerous to be effectively targeted. They penetrated the defensive screen and attached themselves to the hulls of the alien vessels, including the massive command ship. Drones in position, Wright announced. Initiating disruption sequence. Chen leaned forward in his command chair. Now, Commander Sato. The 3 Death Fleet vessels that had been drawing the aliens' attention suddenly changed course, diving beneath the enemy formation. At the same moment, the micro-drones activated, broadcasting the disruption signal directly into the aliens' quantum network. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The perfectly coordinated alien formation disintegrated into chaos. Ships collided, weapons fired erratically, and their precise movements devolved into uncoordinated drifting. "It's working," Sato exclaimed. "Their network is in disarray." All ships target the command vessel, Chen ordered. "Full weapon salvo, concentrated fire." The Death Fleet unleashed its arsenal, every weapon system targeting the suddenly vulnerable alien command ship. Energy beams and projectiles converged on its position from multiple vectors. Without its protective screen operating efficiently, the massive vessel could not defend against the coordinated assault. The alien command ship's hull began to rupture under the sustained bombardment. Brilliant energy cascaded from the breaches, and secondary explosions rippled across its surface. "We've penetrated their primary shielding," Sato reported. "Their weapons systems are failing." Chen watched as the once mighty vessel began to break apart. "Cease fire," he ordered suddenly. "Sir?" Sato questioned. "We need answers more than we need another destroyed ship," Chen explained. "Prepare a boarding party. I want to know who they are and why they're attacking human colonies." As preparations for the boarding operation began, Dr. Wright approached Chen with an urgent expression. "Admiral, I've completed my analysis of the archaeological data from Horizon Point." She displayed a holographic representation of symbols found in the ruins. "These match markings on the alien vessels." "What do they mean?" Chen asked. "They're a warning," Wright explained. "According to the translation algorithm, they refer to the ascendancy. Apparently the name of the species we're fighting. The ruins contain records of a war fought 50,000 years ago. The ascendancy wasn't invading Horizon Point. They were returning to it." "Are you saying this was their planet?" Chen asked. "Not exactly. They were driven from this region of space by the species that built those ruins. A species that, according to genetic samples found in the archaeological site, share 92% of their DNA with humans." Chen stared at the holographic symbols, the implications overwhelming. "We're fighting their ancient enemy," he realized, "and they think we're related." "It's worse than that," Wright continued. "The technology behind the Death Fleet, the quantum, communication systems, the advanced weapons platforms, they weren't developed independently by Earth scientists. They were reverse-engineered from artifacts discovered on Mars 30 years ago. Artifacts that, I now believe, came from the same civilization that once inhabited Horizon Point." The revelation struck Chen like a physical blow. Humanity had unknowingly armed itself with the weapons of a species that had once driven the ascendancy from this region of space. No wonder they saw humans as a threat that needed to be eliminated. "Sir," Lieutenant Zhou interrupted, "we're receiving a transmission from the alien command vessel. They're surrendering." Chen turned in surprise. "Put it through!" The main view screen flickered, revealing a being unlike anything Chen had ever seen. Its body appeared to be a seamless fusion of organic tissue and metallic components. Multiple limbs extended from a central torso, and what seemed to be its head housed 3 glowing orbs that Chen assumed were eyes. "Humans!" The alien's voice was translated through the ship's computer, creating an eerie synthetic sound. "You have demonstrated capabilities beyond our projections. We request cessation of hostilities." Chen stepped forward. "I am Fleet Admiral Marcus Chen of Earth. Why have you attacked our colonies?" "You are the inheritors," the alien responded. You carry the legacy of the destroyers. We are the ascendancy, guardians of balance in this sector of space. 50,000 of your years ago, we were driven from these worlds by beings who sought to remake all life in their image. They were destroyed in the conflict, but they left behind their knowledge. Knowledge you have found. The ruins, Chen understood. The technology. Yes, you build with their designs. You expand with their ambition. You must be controlled before the cycle begins again. Chen considered his response carefully. We didn't know the significance of what we found. We are not these destroyers. You fought. We are our own species, making our own path among the stars. Yet you awakened weapons of tremendous power at the first sign of threat, the Ascendancy representative countered. This is the pattern we have observed across countless cycles. Before Chen could respond, Dr. Wright stepped forward. Admiral, may I speak? Chen nodded, and Wright addressed the alien directly. The technology we discovered, we used it because we understood its function, not its history. But humans have something your ancient enemies lacked. We adapt. We learn. We change. The Death Fleet was sealed away after its creation because we recognized its destructive potential. It was only reactivated to defend our people. The alien seemed to consider this. Its 3 eye orbs pulsated in an unfamiliar rhythm. You offer perspective, it finally said. This requires consideration. We will withdraw our forces from human territory while the Ascendancy deliberates. But know this, we will be watching. The path you choose will determine whether coexistence is possible. The transmission ended, and the alien vessels, those that remained intact, began retreating from Horizon Point's system. Do we pursue? Commander Sato asked. Chen shook his head. No. We've been given an opportunity to avoid further bloodshed. For now, we maintain our position and protect our people. He turned to Dr. Wright. I want everything we have on these destroyers, who they were, what happened to them, and most importantly, how we differ from them. As the alien fleet disappeared from their sensors, Chen established communication with Horizon Point. Elena. Reyes's face appeared on screen, exhaustion evident in her features. Admiral, the aliens are retreating. What happened? We've earned a reprieve, Commander. Not a victory, Chen explained. There's much more to this conflict than we realized. The emergency transmission that brought us here wasn't just a call for help. It was the beginning of a reckoning with a past we didn't know we had. Elena nodded solemnly. What happens now? Chen looked out at the stars visible through the bridge. Viewport. Now, Commander, we prepare, not just for war, but for the possibility of peace. The Death Fleet has awakened, but its purpose may not be what we imagined. The Reckoning. 3 months after the confrontation at Horizon Point, Fleet Admiral Marcus Chen stood before Earth's Unified Defense Council in Geneva. Massive holographic displays showed the status of human colonies across known space, with particular emphasis on the systems bordering what they now called Ascendancy territory. No further incursions have been detected, Chen reported. The Ascendancy appears to be honoring its commitment to withdraw while they deliberate our status. General Samira Kauri, the Council's chairperson, was not convinced. And you believe we should trust the word of an alien civilization that initiated unprovoked attacks against our outposts. Their attacks weren't unprovoked from their perspective, Chen countered. Based on Dr. Wright's research, the Ascendancy genuinely believes we pose an existential threat to this sector of space. He gestured to Dr. Eliza Wright, who activated a new holographic display showing archaeological findings from both Mars and Horizon Point. The evidence is conclusive, Wright explained. Approximately 50,000 years ago, a highly advanced species we've designated as the predecessors controlled multiple star systems in this region. They were technological innovators, particularly in quantum physics and genetic engineering. They were also expansionists who attempted to reshape other species to fit their ideal. The display shifted to show anatomical comparisons between human DNA and samples recovered from the ruins. The predecessors' conflict with the ascendancy was cataclysmic, resulting in their extinction. However, before their civilization collapsed, they seeded several worlds with genetically modified organisms, early experiments in creating what they considered the perfect species. Earth was one of those worlds. A murmur spread through the council chamber as the implications became clear. "Are you suggesting humans are the result of alien experimentation?" Curie asked, skepticism evident in her voice. "Not directly," Wright clarified. "But the predecessors introduced genetic markers that influenced our evolution, particularly our cognitive development and adaptive capabilities. We evolved naturally, but with a nudge in a specific direction." Chen took over the briefing. "The Ascendancy has been monitoring these seeded worlds for millennia, watching for signs that any emerging species might follow the predecessor's path. When we reverse-engineered their technology and began expanding beyond our solar system, it triggered their intervention protocols. So the attack on Outpost Vega wasn't an invasion," Curie realized. "It was a preemptive strike." "Precisely," Chen confirmed. "The emergency transmission that summoned the Death Fleet was exactly what the Ascendancy feared. Evidence that we would respond to threats with overwhelming military force, just as the predecessors did." Silence fell over the chamber as the council processed this information. Finally, Curie spoke again. "What do you propose, Admiral?" "A diplomatic mission," Chen answered without hesitation. "The Ascendancy has agreed to meet with human representatives. I believe we can negotiate a peaceful coexistence, but only if we demonstrate that we understand their concerns and are willing to address them." "And if diplomacy fails?" another council member asked. Chen's expression hardened. "The Death Fleet remains on active status, patrolling our border systems. But I believe warfare should be our last resort, not our first response." After hours of deliberation, the council approved Chen's proposal. The diplomatic mission would proceed, with Chen himself leading it aboard the Nemesis. Commander Elena Reyes, whose emergency transmission had initiated the conflict, would join as a key representative of humanity's frontier colonies. 2 weeks later, the Nemesis approached the designated meeting coordinates, a binary star system, with no habitable planets, neutral ground between human and Ascendancy territory. "Ascendancy vessel detected," Commander Sato announced, "matching our position at the agreed coordinates." Chen nodded. "Open communications channel." The alien vessel resembled the command ship they had confronted at Horizon Point, though smaller in scale. It maintained position as the Nemesis approached, neither advancing nor retreating. "Channel open," Lieutenant Zhou confirmed. "This is Fleet Admiral Marcus Chen of Earth, leading the human diplomatic delegation. We come in peace, seeking mutual understanding." The response came immediately. "The Ascendancy acknowledges your arrival. Prepare to receive our representatives." Elena Reyes, standing beside Chen on the bridge, tensed visibly. "They're coming aboard our ship?" "A sign of trust," Chen replied quietly, "or a test of ours." A shuttle departed the Ascendancy vessel, sleek and organic in design. It docked with the Nemesis in a specialized bay that had been modified for the occasion. Security protocols remained in place, but with explicit instructions not to present an aggressive posture. Chen, Elena, and Dr. Wright waited in the reception area as the airlock cycled. When the door finally opened, 3 Ascendancy representatives emerged. Seeing them in person was even more striking than via transmission. Each stood nearly 7 feet tall, their bodies a seamless integration of biological components and advanced technology. What had appeared metallic in the earlier communication was actually a living exoskeleton that shifted and adjusted constantly. "Admiral Chen," The lead representative addressed him directly. "I am Nexus Overseer Talca, voice of the Ascendancy. Consensus. We have reviewed your history, your actions, and your responses to our intervention. The consensus remains divided on how to proceed." Chen gestured toward the conference room they had prepared. "Then let us discuss the path forward together. We have much to learn from each other." The negotiations lasted for 17 days. During that time, both sides shared information about their civilizations, their technologies, and their concerns. The Ascendancy representatives explained their role as guardians against destructive expansion, a responsibility they had assumed after the devastation caused by the predecessors' war. "Your species concerns us," Talca explained during one session. "You advance more rapidly than any species we have encountered. In less than 3 centuries, you progressed from primitive combustion engines to quantum field manipulation. The predecessor's genetic influence is evident in your cognitive adaptability. Rapid advancement doesn't equate to destructive intent," Elena countered. "Humans have made mistakes, terrible ones, but we've learned from them. Our history is filled with examples of reaching for peace even after devastating conflicts." Dr. Wright presented evidence of humanity's self-imposed limitations on dangerous technologies, including the initial decommissioning of the Death Fleet decades before the current crisis. She also shared the extensive ethical frameworks that governed human scientific research. On the final day of negotiations, Talca presented the Ascendancy's decision. "We propose a covenant," the alien announced. "Human expansion may continue, but with mutual oversight in regions where our interests intersect. You will share information about your technological developments, particularly those derived from predecessor artifacts. In exchange, we will share our knowledge of this sector's history and assist in understanding the dangers certain technologies present." "And the Death Fleet?" Chen asked. "It may remain active as a defensive force, but its deployment beyond human territory must be done with transparency and justification." Chen looked to Elena and Dr. Wright, who both nodded their agreement. "These terms are acceptable," he confirmed. "However, we request that Ascendancy representatives be stationed at human diplomatic outposts and human representatives at yours. True cooperation requires ongoing dialogue, not just crisis management." Talca's eye orbs pulsated, what Chen had come to recognize as a sign of consideration. "This is unconventional, but perhaps necessary. The consensus will agree to this addition." The covenant was formalized that day, establishing not just peace but the framework for potential alliance between humanity and the Ascendancy. As the alien representatives prepared to depart, Talca approached Chen privately. "There is something you should know, Admiral," the alien said. "The predecessor's influence extends beyond what we have discussed. We believe they intended to return someday, to reclaim the species they had ceded." "Return?" Chen frowned. "But they're extinct. Their physical forms, yes. But we have detected anomalous energy patterns in several systems beyond known space, patterns consistent with the predecessor's quantum preservation technology." Chen felt a chill run through him. "You're saying they might have preserved their consciousness somehow?" "It is a possibility we have monitored for millennia." Talca's voice lowered. "If they do return, neither the Ascendancy nor humanity could stand against them alone. Then perhaps our covenant serves an even greater purpose than we realized," Chen responded after a moment's reflection. "Together, we might accomplish what neither of us could separately." "Indeed," Talca agreed. "The emergency transmission that summoned your Death Fleet may have inadvertently prevented a far worse conflict in the future." 6 months later, Admiral Chen stood once again on the observation deck of Horizon Point Colony, watching as human and Ascendancy engineers worked together to rebuild what had been destroyed. Beside him, Commander Elena Reyes surveyed the progress with satisfaction. "Hard to believe it's been less than a year since the attack," Elena commented. From emergency transmission to interspecies alliance in under 12 months. The universe rarely gives us time to catch our breath, Chen replied, with a small smile. But we adapt. It's what humans do best. What happens next with the Death Fleet? Elena asked. Chen looked skyward, where the silhouettes of the massive warships were just visible against the stars. They remain vigilant, but with a new purpose. Not just as weapons of last resort, but as symbols of our commitment to defend all sentient life in this sector, human and non-human alike. Do you think the predecessors will really return? Elena's voice held a note of concern. I don't know, Chen admitted. But if they do, they'll find something they never anticipated. Their creations and their ancient enemies standing together, ready to forge our own destiny among the stars. As night fell over Horizon Point, the emergency transmission that had once signaled humanity's greatest crisis now represented something unexpected, the beginning of a new chapter in human history. The Death Fleet, awakened to fight a war, now stood as guardians of a fragile but promising peace. And somewhere in the vast darkness between the stars, whatever might be coming next would find humanity ready, not alone, but alongside allies they had once considered enemies. The emergency transmission had changed everything, not by summoning Earth's most destructive weapons, but by forcing humanity to confront the truth of its origins and choose a different path forward than the one their genetic ancestors had taken. It was, perhaps, the most human choice of all.